So I just recently got done with collecting all of the platinum relics in Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, and as always, I'm going to rank the hardest levels. Except this time, it's going to be a bit different because if you just want to get platinum and leave it there, you're not going to have any issues in this game. You can beat these platinum times by 30, 40, even 50 seconds in certain levels. So instead I'm going to rank these levels based on how hard they are to go quick on. If you want to go beyond platinum and achieve a new personal best time, these are going to be the 5 levels that are probably the most frustrating to do that on. That's really the only way I could go about ranking these. Starting off the list at number 5 is Smokey and the Bandicoot, just simply because it's Smokey and the Bandicoot. You can't do the good old warped trick here where you wait for the racers to drive off, then pick up the clock so no racers can get in your way. I tried that and I got nothing. Now the race isn't that difficult to win, I was able to get it the very next attempt, but just driving this thing feels awful. It slides all over the place. The racers slow you down dramatically if you touch them. Trying to collect some of the time crates feels impossible sometimes, and it's a pretty frustrating level to try and get a good time on. I didn't even bother. Like I said, most of these levels aren't going to cause much trouble if you're just going for platinum, but nobody really wants to play this level regardless of what you're doing on it, so that's why it's going at number 5. At number 4 we have Crate Balls of Fire. This level is quite long. The majority of it is actually just running in the mech suit. The reason I find this level so hard to go quick on is because of 2 things. Firstly, it starts with 2 long monkey bar sections, and for anyone that didn't know, actually climbing through these parts isn't really an option if you don't want to fall asleep. I think the devs accidentally set the movement speed to half because you move so incredibly slow in these sections. Now there's multiple ways of getting past this bit without it going on the clock. You can climb across them and then use the bazooka to hit the clock. The problem is you're going to miss out on multiple time crates unless you also aim the bazooka at them. I tried this once before realizing I was wasting more time trying to hit the crates than the amount of time they were going to give me back. The other option is to start the trial with an Aku mask, because you can do that in this game, hit one of the nitro crates to get some iframes, and then run across the pit and get to the other side before the iframes run out. You still have a slightly shorter monkey bar section to go through, only to then get to the next annoying part of the level. These flipping platforms. Because when they flip, you have no choice but to wait. They also seem to be on a random cycle, so trying to get a run where you get to this bit and they're all aligned for you seems to be nearly impossible. Is it? Probably not, but it's not easy, that's for sure. Then, after the very long mech suit section, you have even more of these. And again, trying to get a run where all of the beginning ones line up, and then these ones do as well. I don't think that's worth it, but if you want a good time, you're going to have to try and do that, so I think it deserves to be on this list. At number 3 we have Eskimo Roll. So I think the Atmosphere levels are my favourite vehicle levels in the Wrath of Cortex. It controls well, but it's hard not to lose control when you're trying to go quick for a good time. Eskimo Roll has loads of holes in the level, loads of uneven ground, and it's really difficult to get through this quickly while hitting the time crates along the way. I think that's the hardest thing to do because you'll always roll straight past the crate, maybe you'll roll straight over the crate if there's a bump before it. It's one of the trickiest levels to speedrun in my opinion. Even the beginning kinda sucks. Dingodile also has multiple appearances in this level, and his attacks, while fairly pathetic, still have a chance at hitting you depending on the cycle that you get. Happened to me a few times, and again, overall, just one of the most awkward levels to go quick on. At number 2 we have another Atmosphere level, that being Medieval Madness. This level is quite tricky thanks to many different areas at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. First of all, you've got the generators at the beginning. You need to weave around these without losing too much speed because you can definitely come to a complete stop. You lose a good 3 to 5 seconds maybe, depending on how badly you slow down in this part. Straight after that bit you have the wheel, which also likes to ruin a run every now and then. Most of the time it won't be in your way, but every now and then it just likes to be on the worst possible timing. And perhaps one of the hardest skips to do in the entire game is this part right here. Just after the elevator you have these turning platforms, and you can drop down to the bottom and continue the run. But on the other side of these platforms, there's a stack of time crates, making this the path that you want to take if you want a good time. You can drop off and take a separate elevator up to get them, but you're still wasting a massive amount of time by doing that. It just so happens that making it across these platforms and up there is one of the hardest things to do in the game. Firstly, you need to hope that the cycles are lining up in the first place, because if you get to them and they're tilting the wrong way, you're going straight to the bottom. And even when you are on the correct cycle, actually making it up onto the ledge is so frustratingly difficult. I think I managed to get it once in like 45 minutes. I like Medieval Madness, but this part alone makes me not want to revisit it. And then at the end, if you're going too fast on the descent, you can easily fling yourself out of the level. And if you're going too quick on the way to the portal, you can fly straight past it and fall off the edge. Both of those things happen to me. Like I said earlier, if you just want platinum, you don't have to do anything I just said. But if you want to go for a good time, you're going to have to do those things, and you're probably going to get a bit frustrated trying to do so. And at number 1, we have Gold Rush. Gold Rush is the longest level in the Wrath of Cortex, as far as I know, and it includes multiple monkey bar sections roughly halfway through the level. Now yes, in every other level with monkey bar sections, the strategy is to take damage and then run through them, but it doesn't really work like that here. Again, you only have 2 Aku Aku masks, and there's a good 4 or 5 of these, or something like that. You can do it on the first gap, but outside of that, you're either not going to have any Aku Aku masks, or there's not going to be anywhere to take damage so that you can run through them. Now there's a trick that you can do, but I'd say it's nearly as difficult as the skip on Medieval Madness. Here though, you've got to do the trick 4 or 5 times, which is why I think overall it's a bit more difficult. You have to Death Tornado Spin across the gap, and if you want to be really fast, bounce off of the time crates on the monkey bars and then clear the gap. This is way harder than it sounds, so much to the point where I can't even show footage of me doing it because I was never able to do it. First of all, the crates are a huge problem. Trying to clear the gap with a Death Tornado Spin is difficult as it is. Bouncing off the crate puts you even lower while you're in the air, leaving nearly no room for you to land on the other side. It can be done, but it's not easy. I opted for an easier but slower method, where I would slide jump onto the railing and then Death Tornado Spin and let go to clear the gap. This in itself was so inconsistent because of the crates on the monkey bars. Way too many attempts were lost due to slide jumping, accidentally hitting my head on the crate, sending me straight into the pit below. If you make it across all of these, there's another 2 or 3 of them at the very end of the level. The first one can be cleared by using a trick that speedrunners use where they slide jump onto the time crate and then Death Tornado Spin across. And the second one can be skipped by taking some damage and then jumping up to safety. Trying to get a good time on Gold Rush is so difficult and annoying because of all these sections. And like I said, it's a very long level. There's a lot of just running with nothing too interesting going on. All for you to get to one of the difficult parts and screw it up. It's definitely a level that I think deserves to be at number 1. That being said, that is my top 5 list. You can let me know down below what your top 5 hardest Platinum Relics were. Or if you didn't really find the Platinums difficult, you can let me know what your top 5 hardest were to go beyond Platinum on. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Definitely subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you all in my next video.